I stood in the parking lot, the sun beating down so hard it felt like my skin was burning. Sweat dripped from my forehead, soaking the back of my shirt. I looked around, squinting against the light, trying to find our car. It was gone. Just gone. The spot where it had been was now an empty patch of oil-stained pavement. At first, I laughed, a short, dry laugh. This had to be a prank. They loved their little jokes, my wife and her friends. Maybe they'd pulled around the back of the gas station, waiting to jump out and yell, "Gotcha!" That would be like them. Silly, childish, not funny, but typical. I checked behind the building. Nothing. I circled the lot twice. Still nothing. The laughter never came. No sign of the car, no sign of her. My wife? My wife, who convinced me to come on this trip in the first place. She said it would be fun, a chance for me to connect with her friends. Bond, she said. They weren't bad, just misunderstood. That was a lie. Her friends always looked at me like I didn't belong, like I was a tag-along, the awkward guy in the corner. They'd whisper and giggle behind their hands. They never made an effort, and neither did she. Whenever I said something, she brushed it off, told me not to take things so seriously. I let it go. For her. Always for her. This trip had already been miserable. 3 days of silent car rides inside jokes I wasn't part of, and smiles that didn't include me. I should have stayed home, but I wanted to make her happy. I thought maybe this time would be different, that maybe they'd see I wasn't so bad. Maybe she'd finally defend me instead of joining their jokes. I had stepped inside the gas station just for a minute, used the bathroom, came out, and the car was gone. My phone was still plugged into the charger. My wallet was in the glove box. I had nothing but the clothes I was wearing. No ID, no cash, no way to contact anyone. I stood there for a while, trying to stay calm. They'd come back, I told myself. They had to. This couldn't be real. But the minutes stretched on, and nothing changed. The heat got worse. My throat was dry. My stomach felt heavy, like a stone had settled inside me. That's when it hit me. They weren't coming back. This wasn't a prank. It wasn't a joke. My wife and her friends had left me behind, in another state, with nothing. And they thought it would be funny. They thought I'd be the punchline again. But I wasn't laughing. I walked slowly around the parking lot, not knowing what to do. My feet dragged over the cracked pavement. I kept hoping the car would show up again, that maybe they just pulled away for gas or to grab food. But deep down, I knew they weren't coming back. My throat was dry, my head was pounding, and every second made the truth feel heavier. I tried not to look at the people walking in and out of the gas station. I didn't want to see the way they looked at me. A grown man alone, empty-handed, sweating in the heat like a lost kid. I felt stupid, embarrassed, angry. Not just at them, but at myself. I should have seen it coming. They had been building up to this. Her friends never liked me. From the very beginning, they made it clear I didn't fit in. I wasn't funny like them, didn't share their stories, didn't play their games. They'd whisper things just loud enough for me to hear, then laugh when I looked confused. And she would always laugh with them. She never told them to stop. Never stood up for me. When I said it bothered me, she rolled her eyes and called me sensitive. It wasn't always like that. When we first got together, she was kind. She used to listen when I talked, used to ask how my day was. She made me feel seen. But slowly, little by little, that changed. The kindness faded. The jokes started. First small, then sharp. At first, I thought it was stress, or just how couples grow apart. But now I knew better. She didn't respect me anymore. Maybe she never did. On this trip, everything felt off. They talked around me, not to me, whispered in the back seat while I drove. Stephanie laughed when I spilled coffee on myself, and no one even offered a napkin. Ella made some joke I didn't get, and they all cracked up like it was the funniest thing in the world. I asked my wife what was so funny, and she just said, "You wouldn't get it." Now I was here, standing in the middle of a hot parking lot, abandoned, the laughter still echoing in my head. My shirt clung to my back. My mouth was dry. I kept walking in circles, trying to figure out what to do. I had no phone, no ID, no money, just my name and the clothes I had on. A loud engine pulled in, a dusty old truck, rumbling as it rolled to a stop near the pump. The driver leaned out, an older man with a long gray beard and a ball cap. He looked at me for a second, then asked if I was okay. I paused, then shook my head. "Got left behind," I said. He nodded like it wasn't the first time he'd seen it. "Hop in," he said. I can take you a bit down the road. I didn't know where I was going, I just knew I couldn't stay there, so I climbed in. The truck ride was quiet. The driver didn't talk much, just hummed along to some old song on the radio. The sun was lower now, but the heat still clung to everything. When we reached a small town, he pulled over near a row of shops and said this was as far as he could take me. I thanked him, stepped out, and stood there for a moment, not knowing what to do next. The town looked peaceful. Small stores, old buildings, a few people walking around. No one paid attention to me. I walked for what felt like an hour, hoping to find something. My feet were sore, my stomach growled. I saw a sign that said Community Help Center and followed it. It led to a plain-looking building with chipped paint and a cross above the door. I stood outside for a minute, then pushed the door open. Inside, it was quiet. The air smelled like bleach and something cooked earlier. A man sat behind a desk, looking through some papers. He looked up when he saw me. He was in his 50s, bald, with a serious face. I told him I had nowhere to go, that I had no money, no phone, nothing, just my name. He didn't ask too many questions, just handed me a clipboard and told me to fill out what I could. After the form, he handed me a small towel, a toothbrush in a plastic wrapper, and showed me a cot in a shared room. About 10 beds, some already taken. A few guys were lying down, others sitting on their beds, staring at the wall or reading old magazines. It was quiet except for the sound of someone coughing now and then. I sat on my cot, staring at the floor. Everything felt heavy. My wife had really done it, left me, not just left me, but laughed while doing it. And her friends went along with it. What kind of person does that? I kept asking myself over and over, but no answer came. Just the same tight feeling in my chest, and the dull ache in my head. Dinner was served in the next room. Simple stuff, rice, beans, and a slice of bread. I ate it slowly, not because I wasn't hungry, but because my mind wouldn't stop racing. I thought about the look on her face before I went into the gas station. She didn't even seem angry, just normal. Like everything was fine. That's what made it worse. She planned it. They all did. That night, I lay on the cot, staring at the ceiling. The lights were dim. A few of the other guys snored or shifted in their sleep. I couldn't sleep. My brain wouldn't shut up. All I could think was, why? Why would she do this? What did I ever do to deserve it? But after a while, something else came. A new thought. A small one, but clear. I couldn't go back. I wouldn't chase her. I wouldn't beg. I had nothing left. But I was still here, still breathing, so I had to move forward. The man at the shelter told me there was a diner down the street looking for help. Nothing fancy, just dishes and cleaning. I said yes without thinking much. I didn't have any other option. He pointed me in the right direction, and I walked there the next morning wearing donated jeans and a wrinkled shirt. The diner was small, a red sign out front, smelled like coffee and fried eggs. The woman behind the counter didn't smile. She asked if I could work long hours without complaining. I said I could. She said, "Good, the last guy quit. You start now." That was it. No interview, no welcome, just straight to the back. She handed me an apron and pointed to a sink full of greasy plates. The work was hard, the kitchen was hot. My hands were in water for hours. Soap, steam, noise, plates clattering, cooks shouting, pans sizzling. I didn't say much, just kept washing, kept scrubbing. The heat and the smell stuck to me. I went to bed sore that night, but it felt better than just lying there thinking about her. The work gave me something to do, something to hold on to. I came back the next day, then the next. I never missed a shift. I cleaned faster, carried crates, took out the trash without being asked, and the others noticed. The waitress smiled one day when I helped her lift a box. The cook grunted something that might have been a thanks. Even the owner, the woman who never smiled, started calling me by name. She said, "You show up. That counts." After a week, I saved enough tip money and a few bucks from my paycheck to visit a corner store. I bought a cheap shirt from a rack outside. It was too big, but it was clean. That same day, I found a prepaid phone behind the counter. Just basic. No internet, no apps. But it worked. I handed over my cash and walked out holding the box like it was gold. Back in my little cot at the shelter, I sat on the edge of the bed, turning the phone in my hands. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I'd earned it, not given to me, not handed down, earned with sore arms and burnt fingers and hours of sweat. I charged it up, added the minutes, and stared at the screen when it lit up. My number, my name, a new start. The phone didn't have any contacts yet, no one to call, no one to text. But that didn't matter. It was a step, a small step. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was doing something, moving forward. The noise of the shelter faded as I held the phone. Just for a minute, I felt like I had something again, a name, a job, a way to reach out if I wanted to. The phone buzzed in my pocket while I was wiping down trays in the diner. I pulled it out and saw the number. It was hers, my wife. My chest tightened. I just stared at the screen as it rang. I didn't answer. I couldn't. It rang until it stopped, and then the voicemail came through. My hands shook as I tapped play. Her voice was soft, almost like she was crying. She said she was worried. She said it was a joke, that they didn't mean it, that they waited for me. She asked where I was, said she missed me, that she loved me, said, "Please, call me back." I sat down in the back room, away from the kitchen noise. I played it again. Her voice didn't sound sorry. It sounded fake, practiced, like she'd said it all before. I knew that tone, the same one she used when she wanted me to drop something, like I was being dramatic. I didn't cry, I didn't scream. I just sat there, staring at the wall, the phone still in my hand. Later that night, another call came. Stephanie, one of her best friends. I didn't answer. She left a message too. I listened. She wasn't sad. She laughed through most of it, said I was being too serious, said I had to admit it was kind of funny. "Come on," she said. "You're fine, just call us." More calls came. Ella, then Chloe again, then Stephanie. Texts too. Some said they were worried, some were just jokes. One said, "Lighten up, we didn't leave you in the middle of nowhere." Another said, "You're not actually mad, are you?" I felt sick. My stomach twisted, my hands were clenched tight. I couldn't believe it. They really thought it was a joke, leaving me with nothing, in another state, and they were laughing about it, like I was a character in one of their stories, some fool they could laugh about over drinks. I didn't answer any of them. I didn't text back. I didn't call. I sat on my cot at the shelter that night with the phone in my hand, messages piling up. I read every one of them, and with every word, something inside me hardened. I knew it now. I knew who they were, and I knew I didn't want them in my life anymore. I opened my contacts list. One by one, I blocked each number, Chloe, Stephanie, Ela, all of them. My thumb shook a little, but I didn't stop. I blocked them all. The buzzing stopped. The screen went quiet. No more calls, no more messages, no more fake tears, no more laughs. I set the phone on the small table next to my cot and let out a long breath. The room was quiet, just the hum of the old heater. For the first time since that day, I felt a little peace. They don't get to reach me now. The days at the diner started feeling different. The people around me weren't as distant anymore. One of the waitresses, Tara, began to smile when I walked in. She started asking how I was doing. Nothing deep. Just simple things like if I slept okay or if I needed coffee before starting. I wasn't used to that. It felt strange at first, but it was nice. One afternoon, the owner came into the back, where I was finishing up a pile of dishes. She watched me for a minute, then handed me a bucket of potatoes and a peeler. She didn't say much, just nodded and walked away. I sat down and started peeling. From that day on, she let me help with prep work, chopping onions, slicing tomatoes, stirring sauces. It was better than just dishes. My hands were still wet and tired, but I felt more useful. The kitchen crew started talking to me more, little by little. The cook, Dave, showed me how to hold the knife right, how to move fast without cutting myself. He didn't talk a lot, but when he did, it meant something. He said I worked hard, said most people wouldn't have lasted through the first week. That stuck with me. There was a woman who came in twice a week, always alone, always sitting by the window with a book. Her name was Lena. She ordered the same thing every time: black coffee, toast, and eggs. She'd nod when I brought her food. Then one day she looked up and said, "Thank you." That was all. But her eyes didn't look past me. They looked at me like I was actually there. I started talking to her a little more. Just small things. The weather, her book. She listened, not in a fake way, but like she cared what I had to say. It didn't lead to anything big, but it made something inside me loosen, like I didn't have to carry it all alone anymore. After a few weeks, one of the guys at the shelter told me about a room for rent. It was above a laundromat, only a few blocks from the diner. Small, cheap, nothing fancy. I went to see it. The stairs creaked. The hallway smelled like detergent. The room had a tiny window, a bed, a sink, and a hot plate. But it was clean. The rent was low enough that I could afford it with my pay from the diner. I paid the first month in cash and got a key. That night I moved my things in. A secondhand jacket, my phone, the clothes I'd picked from donations. That was it. I sat on the bed for a long time just looking around. No one laughed. No one mocked me. No one made me feel small. It wasn't much, but it was mine, and nobody could take it away. Weeks passed. The work at the diner stayed steady. I showed up early, stayed late, and didn't complain. My hands got stronger. My back ached less. I knew the routine now. The cooks trusted me. The owner stopped watching over my shoulder. The shelter manager said I looked different, said I held my head higher. I didn't notice it at first, but maybe he was right. Life was simple, and for the first time in a long while, it felt okay. The room above the laundromat was small, but quiet. I bought a cheap blanket, a pillow, and a secondhand lamp. I started sleeping better. I didn't wake up with my chest tight or my mind spinning. I still thought about her sometimes, but not the way I used to. The pain wasn't sharp anymore. It sat in the background like an old scar. I didn't check my phone much. No more calls, no more messages. The quiet felt good. One night after work, I sat on my bed, the little lamp casting a soft light across the room. My phone buzzed with a message from the service provider. Just a monthly notice. I almost ignored it. Then, without thinking, I opened the browser and typed her name into the search bar, just once, just to see. Her profile came up right away. Still public, still full of pictures. I scrolled slowly. Her smile was the same, but something in her eyes looked different. I saw a picture of us from 2 years ago, standing by a lake. Her caption read, "Missing you, hoping you find your way back to me." My heart jumped. I stared at it, reading it again and again. There were comments from her friends. Stephanie said, "He'll come around." Ella said, "You're so strong." Others said things like, "Stay hopeful and love always wins." My jaw clenched. I put the phone down, then picked it back up. Scrolled more. Another post. A picture of just her holding a coffee, looking sad. The caption said, "Not a day goes by that I don't think about him." I almost laughed. It felt like a joke. She was pretending like I left her, like I walked away for no reason. None of her friends said what really happened. None of them mentioned the gas station, the missing phone, the empty pocket. The joke they all thought was so funny. Now they were playing the victim, telling the world I vanished, telling everyone how broken she was. I felt that old anger again. It rose up fast, hot in my chest. I wanted to comment, I wanted to scream, I wanted to post the truth, but I didn't. I closed the app, locked my phone, set it face down on the table. She could keep lying. Let her write whatever stories she wanted. Let them all believe her. I wasn't going back. I didn't need to explain myself. She was lying to them, not to me. I knew what really happened, and that was enough. The diner was quiet after the morning rush. A few regulars sipped their coffee. Plates clinked. The jukebox played something soft. Then the door opened. 3 women walked in. Her first, then Stephanie, then Ella. They looked older, tired, not as loud as they used to be. She saw me and stopped. Her eyes widened. Stephanie smirked. Ella looked at the floor. They walked up to the counter. She said my name like it meant something. She asked if we could talk. Her voice was softer now, not sharp like before. I wiped my hands on a towel and said nothing. She looked at Stephanie, then back at me. Said they were in town, thought they'd stop by, said she had been thinking a lot, said she missed me, said she made a mistake. Stephanie jumped in, like always. Said things had gone bad. The business she started failed. The guy she was dating left. Said they didn't have much. Said they could use help. Alone, just until they figured things out. Ella stayed quiet, just nodded when the others spoke. I listened, didn't say a word. Let them talk. Let them explain. Let them tell me how hard things had become. How life didn't turn out the way they thought. How things were different now. How they realized I had been good to her. That I never deserved what happened. That it was just a stupid moment. A joke gone too far. I looked at her, then at Stephanie, then at Ella. My hands were steady. My voice was quiet. I told them to wait. I walked to the office, pulled open a drawer, took out a small envelope. Inside was a check I had written weeks ago. I walked back and handed it to her. She looked confused at first, opened it. Her face changed. Stephanie leaned in to see. Her smile disappeared. Ella just looked away. The check was for $73.50. I told them it was the cost of a Greyhound ticket from where they left me to where I am now. Stephanie asked if I was serious. I nodded, said that was all they gave me. That was all they thought I was worth. So that's what they'd get. Nothing more. No help, no money, no second chance. She looked like she wanted to cry. Stephanie muttered something under her breath. Ella finally spoke. She said sorry, quiet, almost too low to hear. I didn't answer, just stood there. I told them to leave, told them not to come back. They stood there for a second, like they couldn't believe it. Then she folded the check, shoved it in her purse, and walked out. Stephanie followed, shaking her head. Ella trailed behind. The door shut behind them. The diner went back to normal. I picked up the towel, went back to wiping the counter. No one said a word, but I felt something shift. A weight lifted. They came looking for help. They walked away with a mirror. That was enough. The diner stayed busy. Orders came in fast. Customers filled the booths. I moved from the back to the front more often, helped with orders, trained new staff, handled deliveries. The owner watched me, said I was doing good work. She gave me more hours, more trust. Then one day she handed me a folder and said, "Think about running your own place." I looked inside, a list of suppliers, a small location across town, nothing big, just enough to start something on my own. I didn't say yes right away. I took the folder home and laid it on the table. She picked it up. She read through it. She asked what I wanted. I told her I wasn't sure. She said, "You've already been doing it. You just need to call it yours now." Her voice was calm, steady, no pushing, no pressure. We weren't anything dramatic, no grand gestures, no long talks about fate, just two people who shared space without stepping on each other. She didn't try to fix me. I didn't try to impress her. We laughed while cooking. We ate meals on the couch. We cleaned up without asking. If I had a rough day, she didn't make jokes at my expense. She listened. If she had a long shift, I made tea and left her alone. It worked. It felt easy, like breathing. Some nights we stayed up too late watching old movies. She'd fall asleep halfway through, her head on my shoulder. I never moved. I didn't need anything else, just that. Her quiet presence, her steady breathing, her trust. I said yes to the new diner, got the keys, cleaned the place up, painted the walls myself. She helped with the chairs. We made a menu, just a few things to start. Burgers, sandwiches, breakfast all day. I knew how to make it all, knew how to run the line, knew how to talk to customers. Everything I learned at the first place, I brought here. The first day was slow, then a little better, then steady. People came back. They told friends. I knew their orders by heart. They knew my name. I wiped the counters every night like I did before. But now the keys were in my pocket. She started bringing her lunch during breaks, sat at the window and smiled when she saw me. We didn't say much while she ate, just quiet glances and small jokes. It was enough. One night I stood in the kitchen cooking eggs, just for us. She set the table. The light was soft. The room was warm. She hummed something out of tune. I smiled, not at her, not at the food, just because I could. No weight on my chest, no noise in my head, just peace. This was love, real love, the kind that didn't leave bruises, the kind that didn't disappear at a gas station, the kind that stayed. A year passed without a single word. No calls, no messages, no unexpected visits. The silence stayed, and it felt right. The diner kept growing. The regulars knew my name. The new staff looked to me for guidance. The place ran smooth. The work kept me grounded. She kept me balanced. Our life was quiet, simple, full of small routines. Morning coffee, shared dinners, laughter in the kitchen. Nothing loud, nothing fake. Then one evening, the phone buzzed. A message. Not a number I had saved, but I knew who it was. Her name sat at the top. My chest tightened just a little. I opened it. The message was long. She said she missed me. Said she didn't know why I left. Said I never gave her a chance to explain. Said things had fallen apart. Her job, her friendships, everything. She talked about memories, old places, inside jokes. Like that would change anything. At the end she wrote, "I still don't understand why you turned your back on me." I stared at the screen. No anger, no sadness, just stillness. She still didn't get it. Still thought she was the one who got left behind. Still pretending it was something I did to her, not something she did to me. I read the message once, just once. Then I hit delete. No reply, no second read, just gone. I stepped outside and sat on the porch. The air was cool. The sky was orange, fading into blue. The sun dropped behind the trees. The light stretched across the yard. I held a warm mug in both hands. The smell of coffee mixed with the breeze. Peaceful. Quiet. She came out and sat beside me, wrapped in a blanket. Her shoulder brushed mine. We didn't say anything for a while. The crickets started up. A dog barked down the street. The world moved slowly. No rush, no noise. She looked over, her voice soft. "You okay?" I took a breath. Thought about everything. The gas station, the shelter, the diner, the first time I washed dishes, the first time I blocked her number, the first time I smiled without pain, the life I built from the ground up, the love that came after the storm. I turned to her, gave her a small smile. "Yeah, I'm finally okay." She leaned her head against my shoulder. We sat like that as the sky went dark. No words, no need for any. The past was behind me, the hurt was done. She couldn't reach me anymore, not her, not her friends, not the lies. I was free. I didn't win by fighting. I didn't win by proving anything. I won by living, by choosing peace, by walking away and not looking back. That was enough. More than enough. The porch light flicked on. The stars came out. I held her hand in the quiet. And for the first time in years, I felt whole.